You're live.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Malcolm Nance. Welcome to Black Man Spy, U.S. Iran. What we thought was a war pause is now an entire regional war. The only thing missing is attacks on the major Gulf states, but we'll get around to that because they'll probably be happening by the end of this show.
There's
This is
drills happening right now in Bahrain as we speak.
Wallahi. Okay, let me finish the start of the show. See, we couldn't even start the show without breaking news. God damn it, Trump. Okay, this is the U.S. Iran back at everyone's at fucking Warcast. I mean, everyone. The only people that haven't thrown a strike today are the Israelis, and that's because it's daylight. So, this is day 17 slash 151 of the U.S. Iran war. As of today, it is the U.S., Saudi, Yemen, Iraq, Jordan, Bahrain, probably all the rest of them warcast. So things have been hopping. And of course, it started the moment we ended this show yesterday because, 10 a.m. Eastern time is about 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Middle Eastern time. And that's the time that the guys who are going to start launching ballistic missiles at night come on shift to go to work. And people start getting punchy. So, with that, before we start anything, oil jumped about $5 per barrel yesterday on Brent North Sea crude and WTI. They are still just shy of 90. Wajeeh, can you bring up the price of oil? And we will explain to you why oil jumped $5 a barrel, not 5 cents, not 50 cents, almost $5. And what is WTI? We can't actually read that unless you can come closer. There you go. WTI West Texas Intermediaries, $84.55, up $5.29 a barrel. Brent crude is at $89.79. That's up $5.70. Murabon is still trading lower than I would have expected, $86, just up $1.90 some odd cents. There is a reason for this because not only did Saudi Arabia get hit yesterday morning, not only did Yemen attack another Saudi tanker in the Red Sea, not only that, Iran launched a surprise attack, or what the United States is calling a surprise attack, launched a ballistic missile attack out of nowhere against Jordan. Wajeeh says that there's air alerts going off in Bahrain right now. And the United States and Saudi Arabia flew fighter jets into Iraq and bombarded numerous Iraqi Popular Mobilization Force command post and headquarters and ammunition dump. So technically, the United States and Saudi Arabia are at war with Iraq and the Iraqi-backed militias in Iraq. And this is not going to be good. Jacob, could you somehow maybe look up for me, how big did the PMF forces in Iraq get in their fight with ISIS? I want to say it was some crazy number like 100,000 men. If somebody could look that
Yeah,
up for me. Or if you could just bring up is that a Google Earth or is that a fixed map?
yeah, that's a
Um,
fixed map. It's not very good because of the colors. I do apologize. But, the thing is, if we have Iraq here, the U.S. have struck Baghdad. They've struck up here in
Kirkuk,
province. They've struck Diyala province. They've struck
Wasit,
Wasit province. They've struck Basra province. They've struck
Karbala,
Tala province, etc.
Nineveh. They've
Nineveh,
hit
yes.
Nineveh too. I got the whole strike list here.
Yeah.
The United States, working with the Saudis, just fucking went crazy yesterday and
Yeah.
decided to bring an entirely new phase to this war in here. And Saudi Arabia, of course, called it a defensive war. Yes, the Iraqi Popular Front militias working as subordinates to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard fired off drones, which heavily damaged the Yanbu pipeline. This is Iraq. So they hit all over that country. No less than, here's my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seven major command posts and ammunition belonging to Iranian-backed militias, and killed 20 Popular Mobilization Front soldiers and have wounded 30 others. And it is technically a declaration of war on Iraq's Iranian-backed PMF forces. Can somebody look up for me how
I
big
already
PMF
have it for
forces
you.
got? What is that?
204,000 to 238,000 members.
And motherfuckers are committed. Okay, I just want to
I
point out
also,
to you,
I-
these were the guys who jumped on trucks, jumped into vehicles, and just went up in a party up to Mosul to fight to the death ISIS. And the guys who died. They're not there. The men who survived gained an enormous amount of combat experience. And all they are part-time militia members. They have the ability, they have proven that they can kick somebody's ass when brought to it. 204,000 people. We just declared war on them today. I'm sorry, Wajeeh, I cut you off.
You're all good. The reality is, I said this before we ended the show yesterday. Jacob asked me what do I think about the Yemeni attack in Saudi Arabia and why the Saudis are saying it's coming from Iraq. I said this, the Saudis would rather not expand their war into Yemen where they know they had their ass kicked. The other thing that we didn't mention, the other thing that I didn't mention is the United States signed an agreement with Houthis. Donald Trump signed an agreement with the Houthis about a year ago. So like a few months ago or something. So like they would not attack any U.S. troops. And if the Trump administration assists the Saudi government and their attacks in Yemen, all of a sudden the United States has opened another wormhole that they have to get to. They already are dealing with the Iraqis. They would rather go and fight the Iraqis over there. The other thing that I was mentioning is that there is no GCs, there is no sirens going on in Bahrain. All I was saying is that Gulf states are all gathered up right there doing military drills, getting ready to join the war.
Oh, okay. That's Khalilwali. That I thought you meant their drills, the air raid sirens are going off in Bahrain. Don't matter.
No.
Because their forces are inconsequential compared to what you may have just fucking unleashed. Okay, I lived in Basra for a year. I lived in Baghdad for more than a year. At the worst times. And you remember that old story that I told you about how my 250 Iraqi bodyguards, one of my absolute favorite guys came up to me, Ali, this guy named Ali, and he goes, "Chief, I love you, but if Sheikh Sistani tells me to kill you, I must." I go, that's fair. That's fair, even though you have a kid named Malik, named after me. He goes, but it is my religion, chief. I must do what they tell me to do. That is who the Popular Mobilization Fronts were. They were religiously motivated militias formed by the Iraqi Shia clericy and armed and equipped by the government of Iran to fight Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Iraq after ISIS tried to take over the country. And those men did not disappear. The guys who weren't killed in combat were the ones who managed to gain experience and now are a separate standing army in Iraq. Here's the real problem. I said this 2 weeks ago. There appeared to me to be a campaign coming from Washington to stoke the Yemeni army to invade the Houthis, to get the
Mm-hmm.
Lebanese to bring us and the U.S. and the Lebanese army in alignment with the Israelis in southern Lebanon to attack Hezbollah, to get the Syrians to attack Hezbollah from the rear in the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon, to get the Kurds and the government of Iraq to get the Iraqi army to attack the Popular Mobilization Front forces and disarm them. Well, apparently Iranian was going, that Malcolm is very correct. I heard Jacob. Jacob said same thing. Let me write this down. Let's fucking attack before they do. Now, whoever instituted this policy in the National Security Council, you set the entire Middle East on fire today. We've got Yemen on fucking fire. You know what? I can't wait to see what Hezbollah does today. Because they're going to do some shit, right? Maybe they'll invade Damascus. I don't know. That's all that's missing here. Wallahi.
It's
Stop the war dance. Stop the war dance. Stop the war dance.
Let me just point out a few things so our viewers here get the picture, because the U.S. and the Saudis have struck all the way up here from Kirkuk and almost all the provinces along the border, and Baghdad, Kabul area here at the center. Now, most of these militia that are enrolled in the Popular Mobilization Forces are recruited in this area because they're Shia. And back in the day, they actually took over after combating ISIL because we didn't want to get our own hands dirty combating ISIS. They've taken control of the Sunni area in Iraq. And
the Sunni Triangle.
And that's a new feature in Iraq. And that's, unfortunately, many would say the big problem in Iraq now, that they are that strong because we helped them getting strong. And those are the ones that are being attacked now. So, well, it's a major war.
Well, and the point that I'm trying to draw here about the Popular Mobilization Forces, the PMFs in Iraq, they are a shadow army, almost as big as the Iraqi army.
Yeah.
Okay. They're a shadow army. And if Prime Minister fucking Abdali thinks he's going to mobilize the Iraqi army. Oh, Zaidi, sorry about that. I'm all confused today. All right.
He replaced al-Sudani. Al-Zaidi replaced al-Sudani.
You know what the Zaidis are, right? Those are the black Iraqis from down south. No,
this guy
black
is not
Iraqi
black.
tribe, the Al-Zaidis. Anyway, my point is, if he thinks he's going to now mobilize the Iraqi regular army to take on the PMF, have 2/3 of the army will defect, or that guy will wake up dead tomorrow morning. I mean, he had better watch his P's and Q's, because now he has awoken a force here that materialized in a single Friday in the mosque after a speech in Karbala by the al-Sistani family saying, rise up against these Sunnah Muslim terrorists. And they managed to bring up 200,000 guys. And it is a badge of honor to be in the PMF, right?
It's actually, there's one thing that has changed. And that, sort of makes this something we should watch out for, and perhaps not so serious. It's the change of Muqtada al-Sadr, because al-Sadr is still a very influential voice. I just saw he gave a statement actually saying that the Iranian-sponsored militias are at fault for bringing Iraq into this war. Now, of course, he wants the American out, but he's a staunch nationalist nowadays, even though the Iranians created him back in the day. So he actually also spoke out against the Iranian-sponsored militia.
But what about these attacks that the Saudis and the Americans did this morning? Has you said anything about that?
Yeah, he condemned those, of course, but it seemed that he was saying, well, the Iranian-sponsored militias were at fault initially.
Okay, well, that's nice. The
And at
Iranian-sponsored
least that's
militias.
something.
Okay, that's nice. Problem is, the Iranian-sponsored militias are all going to be out for blood today. I suspect every fucking shaheed in that country is getting maintenance checks this morning. Okay, and we don't know how many that is. That could be a few thousand. Yeah, you hit the ammo dumps, but that doesn't mean that you hit all the shaheed launchers that were full of shaheeds. And that doesn't mean that shaheeds aren't going to be coming across the border tomorrow night. Okay, I've been across the Shat Al Arab waterway. Okay, you can get across that in a small little pontoon. But this could spiral out of control. You could see the PMFs really launching attacks on Saudi Arabia today. And they might just decide Adamam oil fields, Jubail oil fields, the Habshan pipeline needs to all fucking go away. And the Iraqi government has nothing to do with this. Of course, they're going to call Tehran and go, what do you think we should do? And they're going to go, well, they killed your brothers in arms.
Yeah.
You have to do something. Maybe bombard the U.S. bases in Kuwait. That's the closest thing you can do. It's that's like a 45-minute Shaheed flight from Basra.
Yep.
Not even. That's a 30-minute Shaheed flight from Basra. So to Ali Al Salam Air Base or to Camp Bueling. So this is a very, very significant turn of events. And I just don't see how you turn this off by going there and killing these guys. You would, unless Azadi gave the Americans assurances that they could be brought under control and that you need to come and take care of these guys and that American air power is going to cover for him. This could spiral out of control. This could topple the government of Iraq. It could, in fact, start a internecine warfare between the army of Iraq, the Iraqi SWAT, Iraqi SAF, against trying to do pinpoint raids against PMF members. But if you do that, then you got to understand, going into Shia neighborhoods, there's a reason the word is popular.
Yeah.
Okay. Popular mobilization forces, because it's a pop-up militia group and everyone's involved. And if you're going to roll in on armored Humvees into those neighborhoods to kidnap the head of that unit, you have another thing coming.
And the trouble is the Quds Force, the IRGC, has really worked on these tribal structures down in the southern part of Iraq, and it's so ingrained, and therefore it's very hard to combat. And if you're not there, to combat it in the streets, then they're going to pop up again, and they're going to be even worse.
Somebody says we should all move to Denmark with Jacob.
It's nice and warm here today.
Not enough room. I got to tell you right now, there are not enough apartments in that city. That city is very, very, very expensive. Yeah.
Listen,
okay.
The Saudis, I got a phone call and I couldn't hear half of the things that you guys said. The Saudis and the Americans made a horrible, horrible strategic decision. Expanding the war into Iraq, expanding the war into Yemen is exactly adding gasoline to the fire. The Saudis could have easily swallowed their pride for the several weeks and, like took some of these attacks, and instead of focusing on retaliating, they could have hired more, more people to come and protect their skies instead. What they just did is they escalated the situation where they have basically asked for more attacks on their infrastructure. That's all I see happening next. The you want to call them militias? associated with Iran, these militias are already armed, are already engaged, are already attacking the Gulf states. They have showed that they are capable of doing so. And the United States is spread too thin without the support of its NATO allies. So when you put all of that into the picture, you really see a disaster happen, don't you?
Yeah. This is the word is regrettable. They could have just hit that ammunition storage facility down in Dia near Basra and said, that's where the drones came from, halas. But to do a total air campaign and say, this is an attempt to decapitate the PMF. Okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were more strikes today in the daytime. And since you've got the Saudis involved, I don't even know if the Saudis are actually involved. The way the Saudis like to do it is they won't fly F-15s over Iraq and start dropping bombs. They'll let the Americans do that, but they'll, fly a tanker support, or they'll have a reconnaissance drone active along the border. The Saudis don't actually like getting their hands dirty in these attacks. And I have
But for
seen
the
no
Trump
evidence.
administration, it's very important to signal that, the Saudis were part
It
of
was
it
a
too.
joint U.S.-Saudi
Yeah.
operation. Yeah, well, you know what? Now guess who's going to suffer for this? And Saudi Arabia, of course, as I said earlier in the show, referred to this as a defensive operation. Okay, that's interesting. You can call it that, but what's coming back today is going to be offensive because no one is going to allow 20 men to die and all these headquarters hit without them getting, Al Quds Force advice to say, hey, listen, we don't want you to hit the Abqaiq pipeline again. No, we want you to work with the Yemenis. We're going to take out the Yanbu section. And those drones will fly all the way out there, and the U.S. and the Saudis won't even see them because they'll be flying to the southwestern part of Iraq. Can you point that out there?
Yeah.
Shoot, I just hit my
Yeah,
knee.
let me just
The
go
south.
to a different.
That's a good map. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Out
Here
in
we
the
go.
middle of the desert where nobody is really watching. Yes, they have a chain of radars up there, but they could fly from southern Iraq to Yanbu, right? And make things very unhealthy up there, especially if everybody got together on a Zoom call and the Iraqi PMFs talked to the Houthis and we're talking to the Iranians and they all decide to put Yanbu out of business today.
Yeah.
And then what do? Who are you going to attack now? Everybody? Everybody's going to be shooting at you? Oh, yeah. And another question is, does this count as the United States getting revenge for the ballistic missile attack that was carried out yesterday evening on the U.S. base at Muwafaq al-Salti in Jordan?
And
That is the
that's
second most significant event.
seemingly what the CENTCOM and thereby the Trump administration is trying to say, because they were saying we retaliated at the at the Iraqi militia. But that's not how things work,
Yeah. Juanita, who asked this question, she missed something. What is the PMF? It is the Popular Mobilization Forces of Iraq, an Iraqi militia that was formed.
Shabi, right?
Yeah, Hashid Shabi in Arabic. An Iraqi militia that was formed when ISIS invaded Iraq from the north, and they supplemented the Iraqi army. They were trained and equipped by Iran, and they remain in Iraq as a shadow army of Iran. 204,000 men, did you say? That's a lot. That's a lot. It's as big as the shooting end of the Iraqi army.
There's a lot of poor Shia that are easily recruited.
Yeah. I mean, you get paid by the government of Iraq. And when Shia Islam needs you, they will call you. I have a bad feeling everybody's checking in this morning to see if there's going to be a mobilization of the Popular Mobilization
The size
Forces.
of the whole Saudi military together is 247,000. The estimate of the Hashd al-Sha'bi is 204,000 to 238,000.
Shooters. Okay, shooters. They're all shooters in the Hashd Shabi. When they went after ISIS, they didn't say, "Oh, I only bring bread. Oh, I only clean the bathrooms." It was guys jumping into their own cars and driving to Mosul. All they had to do was stop by a headquarters and pick up a rifle and ammunition, and then we're out there fighting ISIS. So I just want to get that in order that the Heshad Shabi, the PMF, those guys were organized to shoot. Somebody asked, weren't they incorporated into the Iraqi army? Yes, they were incorporated into the Iraqi army structure for the purpose of fighting ISIS, just so that the regular IA, right, the Iraqi army, IQA, weren't shooting at the Heshad Shabi. They operated in synchronicity with them. But they are a wholly independent subsidiary of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps.
Yeah. And it's the Kataib, Hezbollah, it's the it's the Al Shuhada, they've got 1,000 names.
Yeah.
And
Somebody,
they started popping up in the early 2000s, in 2004 onwards, and it got worse and worse.
I guess I didn't count the Saudi National Guards that are only responsible for protecting the royal family, 150,000 troops.
yeah, okay. It's a nice name for them, but when faced with a wild band of guys running with janbias and suicide bomb belts, that would be another thing.
Yeah, the trouble, hard as it seems, these guys are way more motivated than the Saudi army and the Saudi National Guards. There'd only be a few motivated units.
They're the Houthi of the north. I mean, they're not from the mountains, but they are highly motivated Shia combatants who could make any of these operations very unsavory for the government of Saudi Arabia. I mean, they could, in theory. Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Hey, anyway, really quick. I, this morning, was trying to come up with an acronym for Chili, CHILI, and somebody did it. Now, I've just modified it. And we are going to start using Chili. It means could hit immediately, launching imminently.
But it turned out a good chili last night.
Did
I did it well. Yeah.
I had pizza. Because I couldn't come up with anything. I was tacoed out. I was tacoed out. I was so tacoed out. Taco Tuesday. We've had so many Taco Tuesdays that I couldn't look at another one. All right. So that is the first item on our list. Is that Iraq is now coming into the war in a split way, with the Heshad Shabi being attacked by Saudi Arabia and the United States.
And what did Trump say?
Oh, what did he say?
He popped up and gave an interview to Fox News, Trey Yingst, and said, "We're going to beat excuse me, and this is a quote, the fucking shit out of them."
Out of who? The Iraqis?
The Iranians, the Hezbollah Shabi, everyone.
With how many Patriot missiles? With what? With the left 1,000 Patriot missiles that we have?
They are Tomahawks. I don't know. But yeah.
We only have like 1,500 Patriot missiles, by the way, globally.
You and what army is a pretty good way of saying it, right? You and what army? Okay. What a catastrophe. I stole that from Jon Stewart, in case any of you are wondering. Okay.
I love this guy. You should have him over sometime.
I love Jon Stewart. You can't get Jon Stewart. Iran, yesterday evening, after Saudi Arabia and the United States were carrying out their attacks, Iran attacked Jordan yesterday. They carried out 6 ballistic missiles flown from Iran, and what the United States is calling a sneak attack, because apparently the United States was waiting for, said that we didn't do anything to force Iran to come out and attack us. Why did they just attack us out of the clear blue sky? Like they're in some sort of fucking ceasefire. We have not. Did Donald Trump himself declare the ceasefire is over and ended, which means we return back to a state of active conflict? So the Iranians took 2 or 3 days to plan an attack, and you're like, hey, why did you hit us? Well, why were you hitting us up until 3 days ago? Wajeeh, you have a question, or you just
No, this is just like the same thing
pantomiming
that
here?
happened in the World Cup when one of our players got a either red or yellow card,
Yeah.
and Trump was like calling the FIFA. Well, like I saw that gameplay. He doesn't know anything about soccer or football. Oh, I saw the gameplay. I don't think that's fair. Like, what are you talking about? This is not how things are run.
I was on Mario Nawafal's show as this was happening. Literally 1 minute before the show, this happened. And one of the first questions he asked was, he says, he uses Robert Pape's phrase of escalation dominance. Which side has the ability to escalate this further and dominate the narrative of the war? Which for guys like Jacob and I, we know this as who is setting the operational tempo and the pace of this war. Whoever can set the pace and the momentum of the fighting is the person winning generally, for the most part. And he believed that the United States still had escalation dominance, could actually ratchet this thing up. And I said, no, they don't. The Iranians have the ability to ratchet this thing up by just saying Strait of Hormuz is closed. Boom, next step. Next level. You have to either go up to that level in combat or you've got to continue on.
Yep.
And I just find it fascinating. There are people who believe that the United States still has some sort of card to play. We have no cards to play that we haven't played before. And this is, and don't forget, Trump thinks Uno is where you keep all the cards, right? Uno's where you have no cards, you dumbass. So you have loads of cards. But that being said, Iran carried out this attack, and my assessment is they carried out this attack because the pause was giving Trump the belief that he was gaining something by having the Omanis and the Pakistanis send the messages. And the Iranians understand they are at an advantage as long as there is consistent combat going on.
Yeah.
And what better? And not only that, Netanyahu was in Washington for talks, and this attack occurred in the middle of Lindsey Graham's funeral. And so the Iranians thought, let's see if we can get a couple of more kills on the books here to humiliate Trump. And as I'm going to quote the Iranian spokesperson as to why they carried out this attack, which goes to my assessment that the Iranians wanted to bring us closer. This is Muhammad Ali's old rope-a-dope strategy, right? Trump thinks that Iran is on the ropes, at which clearly they're not. But it's Iran is on the ropes and leaning back and putting their arms up defensively while resting. And you're exhausting yourself trying to get shots into Iran's face and their head, neck and their kidneys and blah, blah, blah. And Iran's just waiting for it. And they saw a shot. They took a shot to your kidneys. But more importantly, they did this while you were talking to Netanyahu. And here's what the Iranians said. They said they preemptively struck United States forces in Jordan to offset what they believed was a planned U.S.-Israeli attack that was imminent against Iran. So the Iranians are like, one, you guys think that this war is over. Two, we know what's coming out of this meeting between you and Netanyahu. Didn't Trump say the single most positive meeting, or Netanyahu said that, single most positive meeting they have ever had in their existence? What is that? Does that mean that Trump promised to use a nuke? I mean, that's the only thing that I can see that make Netanyahu happy. So Iran is like, why don't we just spoil this fucking party? Oh, by the way, your girlfriend there, Lindsey Graham, while you're all falling asleep at her funeral, here's something you can think about, right? Ballistic missiles. I saw them use 3 Patriot interceptors per missile. They were not holding back on the Patriots. They were told in Jordan, you cannot afford to have another hit that kills U.S. servicemen. They were
Yeah.
wasting missiles yesterday, man. They got them all. They got all 6 Iranian missiles. But there is an image that shows that something on the runway there is burning. So it's quite possible that a low-flying interceptor got its target, but the debris carried on and struck the target area in Muwafaq al-Salti base in Jordan. So that's what
Yeah.
was going on in the meantime. In
Yeah.
the meantime, after we were starting a war with
Just
Iran.
want to say, I think that that analysis is bang on point because that is exactly how the Iranians think, and that's why they do this. Many people think that it's up to the U.S. to decide when something will take place, but the Iranians say, well, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, the Iranians clearly have escalation dominance here. They can ratchet this thing up, they can ratchet it back at their will. We are, let's be honest, people, the United States is responding to everything they do. Responding. All right. I don't even care about your 40-day air war. All right. You are still carrying out Iran's wishes. If Israel and the United States now do a massive attack on Iran, Iran wants that. There is a strategy on the Iranian side I can read, and it makes me very cautious. It makes me think maybe we shouldn't do whatever it is that they want us to do
Yeah.
because they have something, they like the fact that they are standing up to the great Satan. They're going on to 6 months of combat against the United States. Actually, it's 5 months now. But they still have capacity, and they like bringing the U.S. close and letting us, do these little flailing attacks around them, and we are exhausting ourselves and the global economy at the same time. Ooh, somebody asked about Q&A chat. I will bring that up. Wajeeh, Jacob, what do you guys think? Any additional commentary on the fact that Iran is now leading us, dog walking us is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, but it's important to understand that this also happens while Trump is talking about again the Iranians asking for a deal and all that nonsense, and that's also their way of saying, well, this is not so, and you have to compromise if you want to get out of here, and we want you out, and we'll keep up the pressure. So if you want a new memorandum or whatever you want, then you really have to be ready to compromise even more.
Listen, so the Iranians own the escalation ladder, and they have told us exactly what their nuclear weapon is. And their nuclear weapon is their
Straight of Hormuz
ability to
access.
control the traffic, the traffic of the Strait of Hormuz. And that's why, regardless, so yesterday I saw a post by Al Jazeera. Oh, the Gulf states are meeting up regarding the agreement between the Omanis and the Iranians, and the Omanis are suggesting that the toll would be a suggested fee rather than like a fee that's forced on everyone. I'm like, bitch, please. You think the Iranians are going to agree to that? At this moment of the negotiations, in this moment of the war, you're proposing that Iran is going to back up of controlling their most important thing that is the part of their escalation ladder. Who is making these recommendations? I don't understand. It's like gaslighting the Iranians. They're like, listen, this is the only thing I ain't letting go of. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want, but I know this is hurting the American hand. I know this is hurting the Gulf states' hand. I know what
Mhm.
I'm doing right now. The whole world will beg me to let them do whatever. But somehow somehow we want them to stop controlling it. Who's negotiating?
Yeah.
I think when the Iranians hear Trump, all they hear is that voice from the sound of the teachers and humans in the Charlie Brown cartoons. Wop, 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 wop. And it's like, do you hear something? Somebody said Trump said something. Wop, 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 wop. And it's just like, I don't care. I don't care. We know what we're doing. And the more here's my favorite part, because somebody said, well, why would they want the United States to continue bombing around southern Iraq? Because the Strait of Hormuz doesn't have to open. Iran can take the Strait of Hormuz closed. I actually had Brett Erickson. He's a risk analyst on the Black Man Spy podcast for an hour yesterday. And one of the things that he said was that the White House has lived in this fantasy. Somebody told them that if the Iranians had to shut off the pumping of their oil fields, it's called shutting in their oil fields, that they would explode, literally physically blow up, and the oil would burn
That
like
was the FTD.
underground. Yeah, what is that? FTD?
The think tank.
Oh, they came up with that. Oh, Foundation for Defense of Democracies. FDD. Yeah, they're a bunch of fucking idiots. They were the neocons before this war, but they came up with this theory that when you shut in a pipeline, pumping gas, it'll explode. And it's like, no, the oil's still underground. And Trump actually made a statement to that effect that, well, it'll blow up by doing something natural. Like, what? What? And so Trump lives in this fantasy world where shit happens because they think it will happen, which we call in the military PMF, right? That's not Popular Mobilization Front, or PFM. Pure fucking magic. That is their policy, is PFM. We believe it will happen, therefore it will happen, therefore we will spend hundreds of billions of dollars and move tens of thousands of men and women into place because we believe it will happen.
My evidence is trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro. Yeah, well, trust me, bro actually requires a level of knowledge and the belief that you will do something. PFM, right? Pure fucking magic means I can think up anything. Listen, aliens are coming in the next hour and they are going to land. Somebody is mentioning Stargate, right? That Stargate is actually in Iran. They're going to come out of the Stargate in Iran, and we need to bomb Iran to make sure that the aliens get access to the Stargate. But that doesn't even fall in the trust me bro category. That falls into the pure fucking magic category, And so the fantasy that lives in the heads of people who are mentally ill. And I've said this from the very beginning. Donald Trump's foreign policy is actually his personal psychopathy as foreign policy. It's mental illness as foreign policy. And now we're seeing the results of it. All right, let's get on to Yemen, shall we? Yemen struck a Saudi Arabian tanker off of Jazan. Least of what happened yesterday is a fourth tanker has been struck off of Jazan oil field in Saudi Arabia, which is very close to Yemen. There was an explosion. Ship did not catch fire. Crew did not abandon ship. But they are going after a very specific class of Saudi tanker while allowing Chinese oil to please pass through. Multipass works. Bab el-Mandab waterway is part of the Iranian multipass scheme. So if you get your multipass, you're free to go.
And for those favors, Iran is due to receive Chinese man pads. Even though Donald Trump on Friday put out on Truth Social that he had an agreement with President Xi that, of course, the Chinese would not help the Iranians with weaponry. So there
Yeah,
you go.
400 shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles, which are like Stinger missiles. I was a Stinger gunner when I went through International Legion, the paramilitary force. Everybody had to learn every weapon. We all had to go to Javelin school. We all had to go to IED school. We all had to go to Stinger school. And I liked the Stinger. It has a great little weapon system. We had the big full-scale Stinger simulator that we had to use. Get the in there, and you would launch it, and it would do a computerized attack on an airplane. That's what they're getting, 400 of those, and they should be arriving by the beginning of the month. And of course, the Chinese are going to go, I don't know what you're talking about. We sent them pipes. We sent them explosive flying pipes.
But no, listen. What Trump was also saying in that statement on Truth Social was, we only sell weapons to the NATO countries. I have no control where those weapons end. And the Chinese will say the exact same thing. We've sold these to Burma or whatever.
I was going to say to
Myanmar, whatever.
That's the correct name for Burma.
Myanmar.
Use them old racist phrases.
Cambodia, somewhat, something.
Brother, Kampuchea, get
Yeah,
it right.
if you ever go to Cambodia,
Zaire.
You imperialist! I knew it.
Myanmar, for heaven's sake. No,
Okay,
Cambodia.
Myanmar.
It doesn't matter. But and they'll say the exact same thing as Trump said in that Truth Social statement, and they don't give a shit.
Yeah. All right. Wow, guys, that's too much. That was only 3 items on the agenda. It took 45 minutes. We are so screwed. Let's go to questions. I did put up, for those of you who asked, yes, I just got around to putting the question thread up. Pouty Sum 8, is that how it's pronounced? What do our oil reserves look like today? Well, the last time we really checked in, we were at 316 million barrels in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It has now been updated. We are at 305 million barrels in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We are using 5 million barrels per week, which is artificially keeping gasoline and oil prices low. We are nearing the 270 million barrel operational bottom. At 270, the U.S. Armed Forces is running out will start losing fuel. We will not have enough oil to fight a real war. So that is where the limits are. We are now next week, it will be at 299 million barrels, and it will be the lowest level since 1982 that the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will be at. And of course, we are not refilling it. We are emptying it. So things are going to start looking dire there. They said September 25th, empty. We will be at the operational limit of the entire U.S. oil system. Deb says, when's World War III? Not right now. It's coming. Krabby Louie says, if the Americans try high-altitude bombing, can they secure Iran from anti-air fire? No, because you don't know where that stuff's going to come. Right? They may have been holding back on their medium and high range missile systems. Yes, they blew up all the Russian S-300s and those cheap ass missile systems, including a couple of Chinese ones. But what do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, that's what's happening, and it'll go again.
Krabby Louie also. Oh no, AU wants to know if we go through our weaponry, is it feasible that this creature will just resort to nukes for fuck's sake?
Oh my
It's
God.
always possible. What would make Bibi Netanyahu so happy that he would just come out of that meeting yesterday ecstatic? And I think we talked about this yesterday morning. Him getting an assurance that Pickaxe Mountain is going to go away from the inside. And I said this to Mario Nuafal. He said, well, What would Trump do if Trump doesn't want to do that? What's the one thing Trump could get that Netanyahu could offer that would bring the United
Mm-hmm.
States to participating in an operation like that? And I said, Israel saying it will be their ground troops, that they'll bring in 2,000, 3,000 soldiers, and you provide close air support. And, and at that point, if Israel goes in and they dig their way down into that mountain over a week, I have very, very, very limited confidence, almost no confidence, that once they dug down there, they wouldn't leave a nuke. Because the only way you can get that mountain is to collapse the mountain in on whatever's under the mountain. You can't blow it up from the outside. Nukes have created craters of 300 feet. Well, the mountains, they said that the down into the main part of the mountain is 500 meters. That's
Yep.
1,600 some odd feet. And then that's a mountain on top of the concrete sarcophagus that is inside. So, yeah, you could shake it up. We have all of our national nuclear command posts. I used to work at a national nuclear command post. It is literally a mile underground, right? That's common knowledge that it's at least a mile under a mountain. And you can nuke the mountain, but you won't get the site. You can cut the site off, but you won't get it. So that's the only thing I can think of that would make Netanyahu like, "Ooh, I'm so glad I came."
And it's quite
Okay.
interesting that the centrifuges the Israelis now allege are there were the ones that were allegedly obliterated a year ago.
I didn't say it.
All right, here's your comment from Jerry Julia. Fox correspondent's quote was, President Trump tells Fox News about Iran, we are going to beat the fucking shit out of them. He went on to say, we'll be hitting them hard. They're going to get a beating. He's clearly acting emotionally. What do you think the senior military leaders are saying behind closed doors? Bitch, be crazy. He's crazy. He's crazy.
It
You know,
behind closed doors. That depends whether Trump is in the room behind those closed doors or whether he's outside the room. I'm sure they'll be saying something different.
yep. Okay, one more question.
They're not going to speak truth to power.
Somebody, Linda Whitey asked, will North Korea send people to fight in Iran, or does there need to be ground warfare? No, North Korea is sending them to Ukraine. 30,000 troops are going to Ukraine. There's no need for them to go to Iran. Iran has millions of guys with rifles, and they don't need it yet.
I was gonna ask you guys about the 30,000 soldiers North Korea is sending to Ukraine. What's your take on that?
Dead meat. Get within 40 kilometers of the zero line. You're going to find out. All right. Fuck around. We're going to send them back dead, just like we did the last batch.
And
it's just bodies.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And it's Ukrainian, it's always troublesome with an additional 30,000 troops. But it's Ukrainian intelligence that have picked it up. And last time they picked it up, it was correct. And it's likely correct once again.
Yeah, you know what I would do? I'd be like banging their bivouacs wherever those guys are housed, way out, like in Volgorod or far away from the battlefield. I would make sure that there's at least a couple of hundred spare drones for them, so that they get off the train and they do the big North Korean parade with their foot kicking, and then they go to their barracks. I would make sure that place burns at night. I'd be like, welcome to hell. But what do they say? Welcome to Ukraine, suka.
Yes.
That means welcome to Ukraine, bitches. Make it clear. Oh, you're nowhere near Ukraine and your ass is getting handed to you. That's the best way to do it. Make them afraid.
Yeah.
Away from the battlefield, I think the signal's something more, also very important, not more important. You have Kim Jong Un, who was sitting down with Donald Trump, especially during his first administration. But he saw how Trump reacts to his own agreements and his own treaties and his own relationships with the Iranians. And Kim Jong Un now is willing to bet way more on Russia than any of possible relationship with the United States or Europe. So to me, this just signals that the person is doubling down on the relationship with Russia rather
Yeah.
than figuring out how to deal with the Trump administration.
Also, it gives North Korea an opportunity. This is one of the things I said earlier. Gives North Korea an opportunity to get some operational experience. Yes, 80% of the guys that go there die, but 20% of you could come back with lessons learned. Also, building up your drone force because remember, their job is to fight South Korea, which has
Yeah.
technology overmatch. And now they're learning you don't need technology any more than a drone to go down there. So we'll see how that all turns out. All right. Guys, that's it for today. I have to do another show. I'll be on Stephanie Miller on Sirius XM satellite radio here in about 30 minutes every Wednesday. Shouty
Nice.
McShoutface. That's what they call me. It's on Stephanie Miller's radio show. Um, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and come over to Substack to malcolmnance.substack.com and subscribe on Substack. We actually are having a little uptick. Apparently, people have figured out the war is back on, so we are gaining followers again. Recommend me to your buddies and your friends and tell them to come here and watch this every day. I got to tell you something. Please become a paid subscriber. Here's why. The live chat is some of the funniest shit I have ever read today. I
Yes.
deliberately shut the live chat off, which is why I'm not laughing. And I brought it back on, and there's already a bunch of jokes on there that threw me off, including the new definition of chili. All right. So thanks for coming to today's episode. Wajeeh, are either you guys having another Substack answering questions today?
Right after this one.
Okay. Go see the Wajeeh's question and answer. Jacob, any Ukrainian ones coming up?
I had one last night
I saw.
that people can that didn't attend. They can go and check it out. It's up on Substack, and I think I'll do a special tomorrow on all these allegations about the Iranian nuclear program and all that stuff that surfaced a couple of weeks ago now.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Nice.
See you all tomorrow. Take it easy. Go have a nice day. It's raining so hard here in the East Coast. We have flood warnings everywhere. So I can't even leave the house. They're telling people not to leave their houses. All right. Take care. We'll talk later.
See you tomorrow.
Bye. Bye.